Sorry, I'm just chuckling at some of the comments. Now then, people, welcome to another episode of The Final Word. Hope you're all doing well. Looking forward to this one. I've just realised I'm repping the old crew, All Leeds TV. I've just realised that. I thought, what am I doing, man? Giving them some promo. I'm only joking, by the way. Big love to Tash and Jack. Hope you're all doing well. Please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe to all these amazing channels as well. Jack City of Leeds fans, and of course Jack City Music, Jack City Bitch. We've got Mr. Ben Locke, whose game is just leveling up every time. So watch him; he's going places. So is Jack, by the way. I didn't say that for Jack. I just say so is Jack. Just and everyone's favourite Italian, the high Italian stallion. It's Mr. Andrea Russo.
When I say that,
is he not going? Is he not going places? No.
He's gone places.
Italian.
Andrea's already gone places, man. He's not going places. He's gone, and he's come back for more. Do you know what I mean? That's where he is.
I'm here for the scraps. You know, I'm here already.
Exactly. Tactico's on notice. We're here tonight. I've got my war hat on. We're ready. Now, listen. It's all, it's all just a little bit mad at the minute in the Leeds United fan base. It would seem there's loads of different opinions and thought processes going around the space, but we'll get into specifics, of course we will. But let's just talk about the game first and foremost. Jack, in the post-match, a lot of people were upset with the performance, angry at the manager. For me, I want that fuss, bro, to be honest. I thought Harrogate defended really well. We got a goal. We won the game. You move on. You know, we've got another home tie against Millwall. We could be set for the 5th round. That'll be, I think if we get to the 5th round, it's first time we've ever got back. No, can't be ever. But in a long time that we've got back-to-back 5th rounds, we normally go out in the 3rd round. And again, that's Daniel Farker, that is. So props to him. But yeah, what did you make to the performance, mate? We'll talk about some individuals a little bit later on, but the performance as a whole, mate.
It wasn't a brilliant game to watch by any means, but I don't know why I felt everybody getting a bit radgy, you know, in general, like on Twitter and stuff. But I don't really understand why. It was like you say, Harrogate just sort of defended quite well, didn't they? I don't think we were I feel like it was a bit of a training session, and I don't want to be patronising towards Harrogate because they were decent and they got about a fair plenty and created a few chances and stuff. To be fair, caused us a bit of bother, but I don't really know what anybody expected from the game either. I think it's either like a romp, isn't it, and you win 8-0 and everybody goes, oh, well, that's sort of like to be expected, or the games are a bit like that. You know, I mean, Tottenham have had a nightmare, haven't they, today and stuff. They ended up in extra time and all sorts of stuff. So it does happen. We controlled the game. That's one thing I would say about Farke. You can have a go at him as much as you want, but it's just always the same, isn't it? We just control games, and it's like, I know people say we can't break them down or whatever, which I don't want to go over now, but it's just like I don't know. It's just a confidence thing. I don't think anybody was particularly up for it. It felt a bit like a bit of a day off, which, to be honest, I feel like we deserve because, you know, it's a hell of a season, isn't it, to get through a championship. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have a bit of a derby. I felt like it was a good day in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Where everybody was sort of like up for it. It was packed out on it and stuff. So I wasn't too. I chilled out while I was watching it, to be honest. So rather than being like, I didn't really see sort of the negative in it. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, well, I just chilled out and watched it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Agreed. Like even there, like obviously big up Sonny who's managing the TikTok now. Make sure you go subscribe. But even there, I watched the little short he did. Even my reaction was like, yay, goals come, because it was just like there wasn't that much in it for me. I felt we would win. We did win, Lockie. We progressed to the next round. We'll face a tougher opposition, and I don't know, Millwall might be losing to Dagenham Redbridge, but it's happy days that we're at home, and you would hope that we might progress again, and then you're in the 5th round and we can assess it. But performance, mate, for you, what did you think?
Yeah, it was a nice game. I agree with Jai. It was quite nice. I was watching it. Do you know what I mean? I was working at the same time, so I weren't really. Usually, when I'm watching Leeds, you know, no one speaks to me, but I was just working and chilling out at the same time. It was good. I was there to just watch some individuals and see how they were getting on. I kind of knew we'd win. If not, it's what it is. You know, in a weird way, when their keeper went up in the last minute, I was like, oh, it'd be all right if he scored here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want that to happen, but I'm thinking if their keeper, imagine that. That'd be great for him, wouldn't it? But yeah, mate, performance-wise, all right, on it's whatever. Honestly, Joe, if I'm being brutal, I don't really care. At the end of the day, look, it should be better probably at certain moments. Some individuals, I think, no one was great. Solomon he found it too easy, didn't he? And Ramazani grew into the game, and I will say that because that is fair, he did. But some individuals didn't do enough for me. That's what I took out from it. No one was terrible, but people should have been better, considering the opposition, considering they are the ones that were in there to at least impress the manager. Against a lower team, that should have been a fairly simple task for some players to do, to impress the manager. These are players who are fighting for a spot in a team wanting to go to the Premier League, by the way, and some players didn't impress the manager. That's got to be better. So that's what I took from that side of it. But honestly, mate, I enjoyed it. It was fine, wasn't it? It was all right. Yeah. Looking forward to the later rounds.
100%, and we'll talk about some individuals, but you make a fantastic point. You know, for me, right, I'm going into it now, and I don't want to, but I just want to say this point while it's fresh in my mind because my memory goes. For those that are back up now, when we get promoted to the Premier League, then what? Because those that are starting highly likely might be back up. So then what's your role in this team? If you're not able to do it now off the bench or against League 2 opposition, and I know it's only one game, a lot of people remind me of this, but we've seen a lot of games this season where the same regular players are flattering to deceive that when we step up a level, then what? You know, where's your role in the side then? Because if we will speak specifically on the 9, but for me, we still need one when we get up. So then it's like everyone drops down a level, and it's like, well, where are you now? We know what I'm talking about, Matteo, but and there is a great player there, 100%. He's still very young, but anyway, before we get into them specifics, Andrea, what were your thoughts on the game, mate?
Well, I think that the players know that that was, of course, always good winning, always good progressing to the next round in the FA Cup, but I don't think that was a performance on the level we expected, honestly. And I saw also the Insta story of Solomon that said a performance under our usual standards. I totally agree. I don't think I expected much more because of what Loki said too. You know, there was Farke decided to give opportunities to players who are in the spotlight recently, especially online. There's a lot of calls for players to be in the number 10, players to start. We even said that, for example, for to play more minutes, you know, like Schmidt against Blackburn, for example. So he gave these players opportunities. We even saw Guilevogi at centre-back, you know. So I expected more anger from them. I expected more impact from them. Joseph in the 9 too also. I forgot to say that. But overall, we control the possession, of course, like we always do. I don't think the intensity, the rhythm was there in terms of passing, but the intensity needed to be much better, honestly. And we struggled to work out the low block of Harrogate. And like you said, Joe, absolutely fair play to Harrogate because League 2 team in the bottom side of the table, in the fighting to avoid relegation to the National League. They came to Ellen Road, historical day, and against Leeds, they caused more problems defensively to us than teams in the Championship this season. So fair play to the manager for the game plan because it worked for the majority of the game because, okay, we had that shot from Joseph, the post, and other shots, but the real two opportunities were when Joseph hit the post, when Joseph missed the ball, when from the left-hand side, you know, they gave the ball into him. And then there was the crossbar from Solomon. And apart from that, just the goal with Solomon giving the ball to Ramazani. And that's what worries me, honestly, because I expected much more, the game to be much more easier, you know, in a certain sense. And we already scored and won 1-0 in a tight, narrow win because Solomon invented that cross and Ramazani, like in a proper natural movement of a second striker, not a number 10. That's the movement of a second striker following out the play. He was there and he was ready to score. He was very lively. But yeah, overall, I think we need to be much better in terms of the intensity and the mentality because let's not forget too that, okay, we controlled the game and all of that, but we risked twice, especially when Dalo actually came out for the ball and when Strauch put his body on the line because they had 2/3 good opportunity in the second half. They tried to test us for 5 minutes too. So yeah, I expect us to be more like swiftly into this game, to be, more effective into this game. And I think Farke will decide to play his first team, especially with players that were in contention for a starting place, according to a part of the fan base, of course. But I think he got mixed reviews, I think the answers from yesterday are more negative than positives on that regard, honestly, to be fair for me.
They are, and we'll talk about some things. And I just want to we'll start from the top, obviously. Matteo Joseph's the hot property right now, the hot chat within the space, and we're fans that speak within the fandom, so we're gonna speak on it. I think, look, I've seen a comment, and I do just want to bring it up, just to and I assume we're all probably singing off the same hymn sheet. There's not one of us here that doesn't want Matteo to work. I myself picked him for top scorer this season. I've just had a quick look through my Twitter. 23rd of May 2023. I really want Joseph to be given minutes in the championship after he got 16 goals at under 21s level. This is nothing about Joseph. There's always a tweet, there's always a video. You can go check it. Done nothing but want him to do well. I think the notion is, and this is where we've got, I almost feel anyway, and I can only give you my reading of it. People who have backed him and believe he should start, and at times this season I've said it when Pirro's not worked, but I think we've seen enough now, enough of games, and people talk about like, oh, well, you've only seen him for one game or whatever. Like, for example, and I'm not digging anyone out, I'm just saying there were some takes last night that Schmidt should start ahead of Byram or Schmidt should start ahead of Bogle. You've saw him for 70 minutes against Harrogate. I think it's premature. Joseph, on the other hand, now, we've seen him for a hell of a lot. And I just don't think we're in a position to hang our hat on him. And therefore, for me, I think we could do with a 9. That's what I've been saying. And to be fair to Andrea, he was saying it back in the summer when I was saying Joseph should be top scorer and we'll be fine. So to be fair to Andrea, he was saying it then. And my point I was making on the number 9 situation, Joseph has really got to step up in these moments, because when we get promoted, and it is still when, we will bring in a 9. Then Joseph's minutes are even more limited then. And what it showed me yesterday, yes, he did some good bits. I think the frustrating thing for me, everyone. So let's talk about the Enzo LUFC thing, just to bring that into context. A lot of people are like, well, what, you've seen some YouTube clips? Compilations on Twitter are basically YouTube clips. Let's not do too much, because we mock that. We mock that when we go, what have you done? You've seen him on YouTube. And of course, people are using it as like, look, he did good moments. But I could also clip up 5 minutes of poor decision making, And this, I believe that for the benefit of Leeds United right now, for the benefit of the football club, no one's agenda, no one's opinion, we need a number 9. We also need a 10, and we'll talk about why wingers and 10s and all that sort of stuff. But and again, like people, well, he's starting to get, he should be given more time. We're not a charity. We're at the stage of the season where every game is a pressurized game. We need to win points. Joseph started the season. Any notion that the manager doesn't back him is thrown out of the window when he was picked as his starting number 9 on game 1. He lost his place because the guy that came off the bench continuously scored. Right? There's not you, and this notion that he's better off the bench. Can you imagine saying to Pirro, who's probably one of your highest earners that you bought for 12 million, sorry, mate, you keep scoring off bench, I'm not going to start you. Well, what's his answer to that? All right, I'll fucking stop scoring then so I can start games, shall I? That's not how football works. He deserves to start. He starts. Joseph, when he comes off the bench, has looked lacking. He had an opportunity yesterday to do really well. He did do some good moments. Go watch the watch along. A lot of praise in there. But there was times where he should lay it off to James. He's put too much on the pass. There's loads of different scenarios. I just think for the benefit of Leeds United right now, ideally we need to bring in a number 9. That's where my head's at. We'll go around and see what's everyone's opinion on that situation. Jack, we'll start with you.
I think we need a number 9. The only point I would make is I personally think we can get away with it in the Championship this year.
Okay. with just Joseph as backup.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I just think we'll get away with it. I'm not saying that's what I want us to do, or I don't think it's as immediate as the 10, for instance. I'd rather. I think we need a 10. That showed yesterday, which I won't go into because I'm sure you want to talk about the 10 as well. But I think we'll get away with it. My worry is, I said, so anybody that thinks I don't like Joseph, because I truly do, I said at the start of the season, pre-season, the bloke needs 10 games. I don't care how many goals he gets. I don't care if he don't score. Whatever. The bloke needs 10 games, and then we can assess it after that. And then hopefully some type of form will come in. I was hoping he just hit the ground running, obviously, like you do with every player, and he gets 4 or 5 goals in 10, 12 games, and you think, you're done now. You've got 5 or 6 games where you don't have to do much. The thing about Peru coming off the bench and scoring goals is if you start Peru often enough, every few games he'll get you a goal. And in fairness to Joseph, it doesn't feel like that's going to be the case, does it, with him? You could play him for 4 or 5 games and you just think, is it? You know Peru eventually is going to get you one. You just know that he's going to take a chance. Joseph, when we go up, I worry about these players. Well, I don't worry about them. It don't keep me awake at night. But, I'm concerned for the future. I don't really know. It's quite easy. Geldart gets thrown out now, like big style, like, he's nowhere near. And Geldart was the Joseph, wasn't he? So very quickly can these players end up being nobodies. What does Geldart do now? I don't know where he goes, what he does, how far down he has to go before, and like, I think sometimes Joseph is the man from the academy. He's been built up to be the one that, like, what sort of like, not like Archie Gray, but on the same sort of like trajectory where we need to. So there's too much in on him, and I feel like I just feel like it could be a total waste. Just one of these players that just gets totally lost. And this idea that there's just full of potential, I don't know how long that can materialize when. Just because he scores a few goals for Spain in under 21s, which is a totally different game. I don't know. I'm concerned. One thing I do know is when we do go up, which we will go up, whether we get a striker or not in this January, he cannot play next year, can he? I don't care how much he's come on. And he certainly doesn't start. No. Can you imagine a world where he starts as number 9, the same that he did in the Championship this year?
No. Mate, imagine.
He cannot do that, even if he's been exceptional in pre-season. That is, Farke is up against it if he's our number 9 starting next season, isn't he?
100%. Name centre-backs, Van Dijk, Saliba. And I know these are the best of the best, but it's like work for them. He's got a lot of growing. And I would argue if we got promoted,
even physically,
he'd be loaned out. He'd be loaned out if we got promoted.
But then that's what I mean. That ain't good, though. No. I'm not saying this about the players in general, but I think some of them think they can just I don't think they realise how like imminent your form has. You can't mess about. It's like you really have to get going like really quickly. Geldart actually showed some stuff, didn't he? He started coming off at bench and he was doing little bits and getting odd goal. And you thought, there's something there. Somerville did the same, and then we went into Championship and he kicked on. It's like you do have to show bits. You only have to show little bits, which I'm not saying Joseph doesn't do. That, like you say, Joe. There's decent things from him. He runs well with ball and he's active and he gets about enough. But some of his hold-up plays really clunky. And particularly when Peral Parisli gets so much stick for his hold-up play and how he's a bit heavy, his feet are a bit heavy. I think it bounces off of Joseph I think it's worse than Peru holding ball up. I think Peru shows more nice little finesse touches on edge of box, like more often than Joseph does. Yeah. So I don't know what. I
think, look, I just want to, because I am going to answer Darren. That's one game, bro, in a cup. We can't keep harping back to a game in a cup against Chelsea where they were all over the shop and had like disaster playing at centre back and stuff like that. Axel Disasi. We don't want to go, like, you can't keep harping back to that one game.
He might just be on about the last Chelsea match, Joe. Maybe not.
Oh, right. Okay, just the other day.
I'm only messing about. It can't be on about the Chelsea game from like 25 years ago.
I know.
That's the problem too, because he was really sharp in that Chelsea game. He was sharper against Chelsea than against Harrogate. That's the problem.
That's the standard, isn't it, Andre? Yeah, exactly. What you've done there, I can't remember what was the guy's name. Apologies. What you've shown there, anyway, Darren. What you've shown is exactly that's the standard. So why is he not doing that now?
Yeah.
He's proven
I
the
also
point.
think when you're playing
Mentality.
against, and I don't want to be,
Mentality.
Yeah.
I don't want to be patronising. But Chelsea have turned up, haven't they? And who's Joseph? So that there's an element where there's an arrogance to them lot as well, and rightly or wrongly. But when you turn up against some big doofus in Championship, he's not bothered, is he? There's no he's just going to put it on Joseph. They're not thinking about their own game. They're thinking about unsettling your game. When you go play against Chelsea, the centre backs want to get on ball, don't they? And they want to have an easy day. They don't want to be in FA Cup or whatever it was, having a big brawl with some young buck who wants to. Do you know what I mean? They don't want it.
And just again, with stuff like this, well, Joseph's haven't come at all. Then watch this. Do you know what I mean? If you're saying that, he scores like right, okay. Well, Joseph, Andre, talk on the numbers. Sorry, mate. I'll come to you, mate.
No. On Joseph, I think it's pretty simple. People are talking about him like he's 16 or 17. He's 21. He has the same age as Gnonto, lads. That's the thing that is not considered. Of course, there's a different consideration because Gnonto arrived earlier in professional football, senior football. Joseph only arrived in professional football last season when he was 19, 20 years of age. So it's a little bit late considering the two comparisons, But yeah, overall right now, he has 59 appearances for Leeds United and 5 goals on 20 years of age. So especially this season and last season when he was introduced into the squad rapidly, and I always said that he deserved more minutes last season when we had the injury of Rotter and when, of course, Bamford and Pirot had a number of games where he didn't score, when he wasn't performing, then returning to the playoffs, Bamford, of course, was struggling with injuries as usual, unfortunately. So I think Joseph, especially with Rotter injured, because I think Joseph is versatile. I said last season, try him behind like a second striker, change the formation and try him as a second striker, because especially in preseason, he tried him there and it looked good, honestly. He's a versatile player. But right now, he has regressed. He started as the number 9. They started number 9 this season, but after he was benched, for the first time, he was never the same player. The same player he was at the start of the season, because with young players, you need to give them consistency and continuity, and you have to see how they react. And if they react well to being benched, he's never been the same ever since. He has never performed like the start of the season, because what Farke asks from the number 9 is a peculiar style of football. He's coming towards the ball, all the play, 1-2 touches, then you sprint back and attack the space. Joseph is good in doing that if you look at his body and his pace, but he's not doing it. That's the problem. He's not making runs in behind. When he makes, rarely, the timing is not right. So far, there's a player with some good bits in there, of course, with a good technique. We saw the good technique yesterday when he got past his man and shoot and hit the post. But physical duels, lost the physical duels against O'Connor and the other player, the other centre-back of Arrogate. When he went towards the ball, stayed too much on the ball before passing it. There was an opportunity when he should have passed the ball to James and decided to go. Sometimes he felt like he was playing to prove himself, honestly, towards the end of the game, rather than playing for the team and passing the ball when he had the opportunities to, bet good to better, That's the philosophy. Good pass to a better pass. Good opportunity to a better opportunity. Did the pass the ball to James, tried to shoot. But overall, now my idea is, like I said last summer, you need to give him time because it's just his second season of professional football. So you cannot gamble on a player who before this season has just scored 2 goals in the FA Cup and didn't have a single championship goal. It's a risk. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. And now we're seeing it. We know a part of the outcome. Of course, there's still the second part of the season. But right now, my idea is he's not ready to be the backup of a team that wants to be promoted to the Premier League, because he needs time. He needs to be off the pressure, because right now he's feeling the pressure too. There's a lot of in the fan base, the usual suspects, the ones that were pushing guy Gallard, pushing guy Greenwood, pushing guy Bate, these kind of players, that expect all the players that come out of our academy to be the next Michael Owen, the next David Batty, and all that. Senior football is a different football to young football. The players that are great in young football, Charlie McNeil, for example, at Man United, are different players from sometimes in senior football. It takes time to adapt. It's a different type of football. So I always said, we don't need to rush Joseph last summer, because we have Pirlo. Bamford was always injured, and unfortunately, I've been proven right this time again, and I'm really sorry for that, because I wish Bamford was fit, of course. And then you have as the backup Joseph, but you don't need to rush him. And I think we've rushed him a little bit at the start. Then he was benched, thrown again into the team, and he's never found consistency in foot. So I will bring in a number 9 like last summer. I will keep Joseph because Bamford is never fit, unfortunately. If Bamford was fit, I would send Joseph out on loan. But because Bamford is not fit, I think you need Pirlo, another 9 that can challenge Pirlo, a different type of 9, a more running behind, pace-minded player, and then Joseph has the first choice, because Bamford is not an option right now, unfortunately, because he's never fit, and when he is, he has no pace. He doesn't press it, unfortunately. So that's where I'm at the minute, you know. I think you're muted, Joe. Yeah, okay. It wasn't me then.
Just before you come in, Lockie, I just wanted to say, like, I'm reading the chat as I go, and there seems to be this notion that, and I don't know if you're labeling it us, again, I qualified it at the start, like, it's like people wanting to fail, etc. So, no one wants Matteo Joseph to fail. But
can I add something about this too after?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I just, I think for... Go on, Andrea, I've lost my train of thought. Go on.
No. It's very simple. It's very simple. Everybody here supports Leeds United. We want every single player at Leeds United to perform, to have success, you know, at Leeds United. Everyone, from James Debayo to Patrick Bamford, every one of them. We don't have favorites. We have our opinions, you know, praise and criticism for every player. Yeah. For example, we've praised Daniel Farke, we've criticized Daniel Farke, we've praised Pirlo, we've criticized Pirlo, every one of them. So we're always happy, and we always want every player to succeed at Leeds United. Of course, we're here to give our opinions. So there's pros, and when there's pros, there's praise, when there's criticism. And when there's criticism, we criticize, because we can be, in harmony with our opinions, or debate with our opinions, even inside the podcast, you know, the final word. And this is a difference compared to others, because there's others right now, and that's my personal feeling, you know, that wish that are putting their favorite players before Leeds United. That's the difference. They want their players to perform, even if Leeds lose. That's the main difference. Because there were some that were happy when Solomon wasn't playing well, according to them, because he always played well. He was injured when he returned, you know. And there are some people that are, you know, for example, I'm just throwing a name in it, you know, right? That are more happy if Ramazani performs well, but Leeds lose, you know. Leeds United is always to come first. And with Leeds United, I mean every player. So don't say that we want them to fail. If Matteo scores in the next game, I'll be here cheering him, because I want him to perform. I want him to be better. That's the difference, lads.
Yeah.
Think about this.
Yeah, and I remembered my point now.
Yeah.
Because again, reading the chat, all I'm seeing is reasons as to why Joseph's not the problem. And I'm not saying problem's probably the wrong word, but I'm seeing, I've just seen the system changed since he came in. He's hardly had a run of games. The manager's stifling him. All these reasons. How's about we just look at the player? Because Joel Pirlo, for example, sometimes looks pony, but he still scores goals.
15 goal involvements so far. 15.
Last season in the 10. Remind me how many he finished on again? 17 goals, was it?
A lot. Yeah, something 14, 15, I think.
So,
yeah.
And we still criticize the way he moved in the build-up. Exactly. So we were praising his goal scoring efficiency, but criticizing him in the build-up, you know, in the way he helped the team in the build, because the best game he had, moving all around, and he's developed this season, you know, not being on that standard again. I'm talking about the second leg against Norwich, you know. But this season he has evolved, and he's better because he plays in the 9. But if you look at these goals, you know, all the goals are like in the box, basically. So, you know, he needs to be near the box, not going back to get the ball and all that. But that's what Franco wants
So-
from the number 9, you know. So if you get in a different number 9, I think he can even help even more and take us to the next step, you know. A more all-around player. Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Lockie.
Yeah.
You've been waiting patiently.
So yeah, on Matteo, I did a video on July the 11th, 2023, talking about Matteo Joseph. I like to see how much these guys that say we hate him were tweeting about him then. I was talking about how much I think he's going to be a brilliant footballer for Leeds United. I did a video 2 weeks later just on him. And then a few weeks after that, I did another one because I really like him. I think he's a really good talent. When Matteo Joseph, so anyone that's saying it's all rubbish, right? That's all I'm saying. It's all rubbish. When Matteo Joseph came to Leeds United, he was a poacher, right? He didn't have a lot of build-up play. He weren't great out wide. Weren't great movement. He was in the box. He could find the space. He could finish. That's what he was. Last year, the start of last year, I remember pre-season, we saw more. We saw development. He was going out wide. He was driving with the ball. He looked better. He looked confident. Pre-season this year and Chelsea last year, the difference is there was no pressure on him then. And Damar said it earlier in the chat. I think Andrea said it. The pressure, it's different. That's the problem. That's the thing he needs to get over. It's the pressure. Under 21s football, whether that's Leeds or Spain, or even pre-season, or even the FA Cup, it's not pressure. It's a one-off. You're enjoying it. You're having fun. The most difficult part to get as a young guy is dealing with pressure, because this is serious now. You've got 35,000 people every week watching you as the number 9 for a team that wants to get to the Premier League. That is absolutely frightening. It's the pressure. That's the difference between last year, even. When Matteo Joseph came on the pitch last year, right? When he used to come on, what I remember saying every single time, he'd bully them centre-backs. He'd run them ragged. I remember it. He'd bully him. He'd get in the faces. He'd shove them about. That's gone. That bit's gone for now. That bit's lacking at the moment. It's the little things that he used to do that are lacking. He's almost like he's overconfident in what he can do, but he's forgotten the fundamentals of what he was when he came to Leeds United. He was a poacher. He could score. That front post run, he's always had that in his locker. He's always been good at that, right? But he was always a bit of a bully on there. I can't remember which game he came on. I think it was one of the top teams. He absolutely bullied them centre-backs. It was brilliant. I'm going, this is perfect. In a year or two, he's going to be absolutely quality for us. But he's lost that side of it. He gets bullied now. Whether that he does, he gets bullied by defenders now. And I hate to see that, because that's the side of it that he should have kept. And you guys said it. When you're coming onto the pitch, right, you have to do the basics first to allow yourself to do the stuff. When you get that ball and the ball's coming towards him, back to goal, the defender's behind him, the first thing is your fight against that defender. Don't let him get it. Make sure your touch is good. Feel where he is. Don't let him get the ball. Let him know that you're going to do everything in your power to keep that ball, right? Then the defender knows, right, I'm in a game now. What happens with Matteo, for me, he tries to move it really quick. So his first touch is either really big or it goes early and he loses it. Get yourself in that physical battle first. It's so important in this league. And he, as a young man, it's something he has to learn, that physical battle. Feel that first before you start doing these flicks and tricks. And people are right. The moment in the game where he took the guy on, had a shot, great play. Great. Do it more. Keep doing that. He is capable of it. We're all saying that. We all know he's capable of it. The reason I made a video on him in 2023 in July was because I knew he was capable of it. So we want him to do better. And on the clips thing that's on social media about all these good bits, and this is just a personal gripe that annoys me, and I've already said it in the group chat. I remember when I was at uni, I was an analyst, right? So what I had to do, after the game, the manager would give me stuff, individual stuff for players or group stuff, get these clips. We're doing some sessions, right? Now, that is a mix of good and bad. That's the point. That's the point of clips, right? You can't, the purpose of them clips online is to get every single good bit. So naturally, there's going to be no bad bits in there. That's not the story of the game. And for me, anyone who looks at that and goes, yeah, see, it's class, you're completely forgetting everything else that you saw in that game. Don't be blinded by something that is literally made to only show one side of it. There's a fair side of the argument. Like you said, Joe, you could clip everything bad he did, but that's not going to do any good for him. Neither is everything good. There's a mix. You can't seriously, I'm seeing people online going, see, this is proof of nothing. This proves absolutely nothing. You can't be serious and, think people go, oh, I know about the game. I see them, they think they know more than Farker, some of them on Twitter, but then take a group of clips that are made to be just positive as serious analysis. That ain't analysis. When my players used to come, when the players at uni used to come up to me and say, "Can you get all my good bits from that game?" I say, "That's what the media team do. It's not going to do you any good. If you want me to go through the game for you and show you your good and bad bits and what you can do better, I will." The point being, everyone has an angle in which they want to say Matteo Joseph is this, is that. Matteo Joseph has a lot of talent, and I still believe, and I do, he'll be a really good player. But it's down to him to focus on what he was good at last year in them little moments he had. What did he do against Chelsea? Watch that game back. What did you do? Because I remember that game, and he played with heart and desire, and he looked angry and aggressive on that pitch. And then runs in the box were brilliant. He moans a little too much currently for me. He moans a little too much. You've not established yourself yet. You can't do that. You know, how much do you see Pro moaning that much? He gets on with it. I'll get another chance. He backs himself. It's the mentality. Andrea said it. It's nothing to do with his talent. It's mentality. So that's all I really want to say about it. I love Matteo. I think he's a brilliant player, and I think he will be. But there's no guarantee of that. There's absolutely no guarantee of that. That is down to the player to focus on what he needs to improve and do it better for me.
I think that's great analysis from all, including myself, and I never say that. But yeah, great.
You need to back yourself like Piro.
100%, man. I need to. I do back myself, man. I'm telling you, like I say, Ibra does not involve himself with humans. You know what I mean?
I chill out with the Ibra stuff, Joe.
No, man, I love Ibra, man. He's one of the goats. He's one of the goats. Yeah, man. Right. Shall we talk about the 10? Should we talk about the 10? Because again, we're focusing on. It's almost like a bit of a transfer thing in it. I think what it showed us yesterday in the game was, you know, there are potentially a few holes, none bigger, Jack, than the 10 you spoke straight at the start. That's position probably 101. I don't think anyone really, in my opinion, again, everyone sees the game differently. No one really did well there. Solomon started there. It was very interchanging in the three behind Joseph at times. Sometimes Nonto went in there. And I don't think anyone really stood out, and I look at Aronson. I backed him I really rate him. I think he's good. I'd rather we didn't have to rely on him for the rest of the season. I also feel we'd need a different option, a different profile, ideally, to be able to unpick locks at time, for example, because you can't expect a player to be on it 100% of the time, 100% of the time, can you, at the end of the day? And what really gripes me, I'm sick of, well, so-and-so can do a job there. I think my thing is, like, we're Leeds United, we're top of the league, we should be pushing the board, the manager, for additions. If you stand still, and can I just say, because I've just seen a comment as well, and I keep saying it, let's not pretend Brendan Aronson's a winger. Let's not do this. We're smarter than that, because Brendan Aronson, throughout his full career, bar the start of this, has always played through the middle, 8 or 10. Remember his time under Jesse Marsh when he came in, and he was the furthest forward at times, not as a winger, in the central space. So yes, this season he started off as a winger. Why? Because we had fucking Gio Rutter. That's why, right? That's why. He is not a winger. Brendan Aronson never has been a winger. So if you want to do some mental gymnastics to try and fit the narrative that we can play Nonto and Ramazani and that in the 10, then do it. But I'm not. I'm not doing it. I'm not falling for it because I know where Brendan plays. But he is the most like a 10 within our side without him being a 10, if you like. We've got Ryan there, played 10 in the MLS, Salzburg, and all that sort of stuff, but we can go there. So Aronson, for me, is the best option there, but he's our only option, Jack. Of course, people can do a job, just like Gulavogi can do a job at right centre-back. Watching that yesterday, my God, maybe he can't do a job there. But let's talk on the 10 first and foremost. Jack, you mentioned it's probably the most pivotal position that Leeds United need in the window.
Yeah, I think it's the position. That's what I'm saying. Everywhere else, I think we can get away with this season. Then obviously we're going to need to strengthen. To be honest, the more the season's going on, the more I'm actually concerned about how much we're going to have to strengthen when we get to Premier League, to be honest. because you want to be able to build off of it a little bit. The one thing I would say about, I don't want to jump conversation, but going up, like if you run away with league, there's a lot more that you could argue that the 49ers would think, there's you can be a bit more lax with it. With the way it's going, we're going to end up winning the league. Like, Lockie thinks it'll be still towards end of season, the last few games of season. So there'll be no doubt when we get to Premier League. It's not like, oh, well, we're a league above, we should be in Prem, we'd be 15th or like everybody sort of says. So at least it'll be like, we need reinforcements. We only just got out of the league type of thing, which I don't want to just get out of the league, but you get my point. But yeah, number 10 is 100%. I don't even really, I think Aronson's quite a unique 10, really. Like just the way he plays in general. So anybody that you bring in of a standard, obviously, I'm not talking about anybody, will be different to him. He's quite unique in the way he sort of plays the role. He's as much of a winger as any of the wingers have proved that they're a 10. That's the other thing that I'll say. So you can put Aronson out wide left. It's not really going to be a horrendous, but he's not. That don't make him a left winger or a right winger or whatever. Moving somebody around a little bit. I think Ramazan is the only one that can go in the 10, to be honest, because he's the only one that looks to me like he'll a bit like Rutter, where he'd come a bit deeper and turn and actually like get at the defense. He looks quite confident to go either way with the ball, Nonto's not doing very well, is he, this season? So I really don't want to be taking him out of a position that is his position and he's not particularly performing in, and then asking him to do the job that everybody's asking him to do on the wing, asking him to do it out of position. It just seems, the web gets wider there, doesn't it? So I do think 10's the position in January, or I think, again, if Aronson stays fit, we'll get away with it, but I don't think it's not, I don't know. I mean, if Aronson breaks down, or like everybody's saying, like in his past few seasons, he's always sort of faded away a little bit in second half of the season. There's a lot of games coming up as well now, as soon as we get going again. So 10 is definitely a huge week.
I think my gripe, Jack, I agree with everything you said, and up until 2 weeks ago, me and you both said we'd probably get by on Melier and stuff. But I think my main gripe is we shouldn't have to get by. No. We made the, and I know you're not big on finances, but I think the main gripe for me is we made the most money in world football in the summer. You can't tell me we can't go out and just get a backup 9, and even on loan. Come on, you can go get one. Someone mentioned earlier on about Liam Delap being in the same position as Joffrey was this season, and now this talk. I mean, he's different gravy. I remember mentioning him and someone saying, "What are you talking about?" Well, anyway, but my point is, there are loans out there, even as an option, you know what I mean, that you can go get. And we shouldn't have to be going, well, and listen, I'm not blaming the 49ers, folks, just hands up. It's either them, it's either the manager, whoever it is, someone needs to grab hold of them and say, listen, you're having this player. Or Farker needs to say, give me my players. Because
I agree.
To not get it over the line, let's say we don't, and then we do get an injury to 10, or we get a long-term injury to Pirro. I genuinely feel we're up shit creek. Because Burnley, I mean, Morgan Whittaker, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he flatters to deceive against big teams. But will he look good in a Burnley side? Yeah, 100%. He will, with better players around him. Is that a top signing? Regardless of if he's been poor this year? Yes, it is. Sheffield United, Ben Brereton Diaz. And we're all going to sit here and go, nah, we'll get by with Brendan. We shouldn't be saying that. We should not. They're top, genuinely, folks, for the championship. Ben Brereton Diaz, you watch when he gets going, he will gobble it up. He did it at Blackburn. He will do it. He will do it at Sheffield United with Hamer around him and O'Hare, Kiefer Moore even at top, bringing him in off the left. He will do it, and we'll go. I'm telling you, but honestly, I think if we do not, I honestly, genuinely, at the end of January. And I've been saying, listen, 10-point gap, etc. The January windows come perfect time for Sheffield United. They were on their bare bones. They will do a lot of business, trust me, before the window's shut. Burnley already have a strong squad, arguably on par with ours, and they're adding to it. I think if we sit on our hands, genuinely, it could go to shit. Genuinely. And if we don't go up, then what? Then what happens, folks? Be real here. Tanaka, Ampadu, Rodon, all these lads, they'll be there to get. So, you know, and it's Damar, why? Honestly, please stop thinking. I do not care. If we don't go up, the manager deserves to be sacked. It is nothing to do with excuses for the manager. That's what I'm saying. This is the point I was making on my earlier video. People don't want Leeds United to get players because they think the manager should be doing it based on what he's got. And that's that. He's got enough, so therefore he shouldn't be given any more tools. Think about the football club. Not excuses for the manager, not all this. What's best for Leeds United Football Club right now? Regardless of if the manager's got enough. More fucking players.
Yeah.
That's what's best for Leeds United.
I think Falk is Harry Potter that can turn a goalkeeper into a 6 or a 9 into a winger, you know. It's not Harry Potter, you know. I know that some people don't like Falk, and again, his excuse is for the manager. No, we've always said he makes subs late. He doesn't tend to change the system when he could have switched to 4-3-3. So we criticize him too. We praise him on certain styles and certain things on his style of football. We criticize him on certain things of his style of football. So it's not down to making excuses for the managers because we care about Leeds, not about... we're not fans of Daniel Farke first and Leeds United second. We're fans of Leeds United first and then the manager, of course, because he's at the helm, you know. But overall, we need some players. Look at the depth of the squad. I totally agree with Joe when he says, oh, but he can do a job there. No, that mentality needs to change because that mentality is completely complacency and entitlement. And Leeds United has nothing to do with complacency and entitlement. We are not promoted yet. We need to be promoted at the end of May. That's the difference. We are not promoted now in January. We are at the top, but we are not promoted. We need to get there on May. This month is crucial. If we don't strengthen in this month, we don't go up. Simple as that.
What?
Yeah. And
do you remember finishing? Sorry, Lockie. Do you remember finishing 9th under Bielsa? What did we do that summer? Fuck all. We let the club tell us. Oh well, a lot of the players we let the club tell us a lot of the players we got last season were injured, so they'll be like new signings, and you know we'll kick on. What happened? Bielsa got sacked. Bielsa got sacked, and we stayed up on the last day because we stood still. You should always evolve. Jack. Manchester City stood still after winning the treble and winning 4 Premier Leagues on the trot. Look at the state of them now. Genuinely. And what they're doing in January. Mamouche, the centre-back, some crazy folks had us linked to, you know, from loans. They are not standing still. Walker, see you later. He said, I want to move. They've gone, go, bye. See you later. Go to
AC Milan. Yeah,
gone. You know? So, and I know we're not City. But we know we had the best manager to ever come through this football club. And we stood still. And we ended up sacking him. And now we're back in the Championship. So you folks should know, in my opinion, we can't stand still. Regardless of if you like the manager, the 49ers, whatever, there is massive gaps. We need a 10. I would argue we need a 9. Goalie even we should get a goalie if you want my honest opinion. We should. If I was the owner and I had their money, I'd go, goalie. But I'm not. Do you know what I mean? But go on. Sorry, Lockie. I'm running.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just on a few things. So this whole, he's got enough. Haven't Burnley already got enough? Haven't Sheffield United arguably already got enough? Us, our 3 squads, even Sunderland now with LUFC, them 4 squads are by far better than any others. So all of us should have enough, right? But only 3 you can go up. Only 2 automatic. This is the fight. This is the battle now. Look at Burnley, right? They're bringing in, what's his name? Whitaker, right? Yeah. Do they really need him? Look at their wingers options here and their strike options. Oh, down the middle, they've got Lyle Foster, right? They've got Jay Rodriguez, they've got Ashley Barnes, they've got Koleosho, they've got Sarmiento, Anthony, Manuel Benson's back from injury, Mike Trezor. Down the middle, they've got Zion Fleming and Hannibal, and Aaron Ramsey's coming back. They don't need Whitaker, but they'll do it because they can, and they know it'll impact the team. That's exactly what we're asking for. I'm not saying get someone rubbish, but get the right profile and just do it. Everyone else is. Sunderland said, right, look at Sunderland's midfield before Lefebvre, by the way. It's already really good. They've got a lad on loan from in France. I know you might know Andre. Played for Lens last season. He's back from injury. He's very good. Their midfield is an absolute joke. So the point being...
Yeah, no, just you're saying there, just I don't want to go too much in depth to it now, but you've just reeled off all them options there that Burnley have. Just scroll up and down this, please, Andrea.
Yeah, as we can see, I think we all agree you need 2 naturals in every position. So of course we have 2 naturals, but you can see here there's a gap because the bio is not an option. Let's be realistic. The bio is not an option. So if Roland gets injured, you have to play Weber and Struijk and move Struijk here. So you just have to fit center backs. And again, we go back to the philosophy. Oh, but he can do a job there. So again, Ampadu can play in center back. Guilavogui can play in center back. It's like a chess game. You move the pieces all around, and at some point you try to win the game and you know, win the game of chess. But it's not how it works if you want to be promoted. For me, it's not sustainable. It's always like bordering risks. You know, one piece away from losing the game of chess. You know, so it's like that. That's pretty good cover in the number 6 because you have 3 natural number 6, 2 number 8, of course, that can go up and down the field. The pitch, of course, I'm not American, sorry. The pitch. So in the number 10, you have the attacking midfielder. Again, the number 10 is an attacking midfielder. He's not a winger. He's not a striker. Because if you know Aronson, usually moves back to get the ball, moves from here to here and to here, you know, because Ampadu, of course, goes in the middle. So that's the main difference, you know. The number 10 is a midfielder, not a forward. He helps in the build-up. He does defensive work. He moves all around when these 2 are stuck and don't have a pass option. So it's a different one. And so for me here, there's a big gap because Aronson is the only one, because he's an attacking midfielder, capable of playing in this position. Because these 2, Ramazani and Gnonto, are second strikers. You can play them if you have a different formation, like a 4-2-2, or you know, a different one where you have 3 midfielders and you play with 2 up front. You know, you can play them behind the number 9, but in a different formation, not in this one, in this 4-2-3-1. So again, pretty good cover, of course, a great cover, not pretty good on the wingers. But again, if Pirro gets injured, let's take him out. You have just Joseph and Bamford. That's the point again. So you have you put all the pressure to a young player
as well. I genuinely believe if Aronson was to get injured, Pirro drops in the 10. You know, Pirro drops in the 10, and Joseph goes up top. I think that's what he would do. And then this is what I'm saying. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're taking Ampadu out of the 6 to play him at centre back. And that's what I mean. I just. Yeah, and like you say, Bamford's ruined. Damar's just put it in. Bamford's ruined, man.
Exactly.
He's out again for 6
problem.
weeks, whatever it is, man. He's done. Joffrey's going out on loan. Get a 9, get a 10. I'm not even that fussed on the right centre-back. We can talk about him. I mean, this doing a job. Listen, I really like Guilavogui, and a lot of it might be due to the fact that he hadn't played, you know, started a game of football for probably over a year, if we're being honest. But because he was a free agent, but my God, he was bad. My God, he was bad. He was, wasn't he? He was, though, wasn't he, man? No. Bloody hell. That guy, March, the League 2 winger or strike, I can't tell if it was a 2 or sometimes, but he was bad. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's the big problem, you know.
Backs, and I know nobody likes it. But I think unless you're getting someone in that is coming into the side, if I still maintain if Wobber can't be, are we going to get a centre-back better than Wobber? So if we're not, I can't.
I want one on the other side.
You what, dude?
No, we're not.
I want one, lads, not on this side because you have 2 left-footed.
I know, dude. But I'm just talking about. I don't. I'll just say what I think. I don't think it matters if he's left-footed or right-footed. I honestly don't. I think the idea is every time Ampadu's filled in has always been because it's been Struijk out, hasn't it? That's why he's gone to the left centre-back. You can't tell me that Ampadu can't play right centre-back. I'm aware it's a slightly different position, but I just think he can. For me, unless you're bringing in, if Wobber can't get into them back 2, play either, you know, which he can't, he's not as good as them. Can we bring anybody in that is better than Wobber? And if he's better than Wobber, can he be a backup for either of these 2? Ampadu going into the centre-back, I don't think is the same as putting one of the wingers into the 10. That's all I'm trying to say. I think Ampadu is a legitimate centre-back.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying on that. That's why I don't think it's as immediate. And the centre-mid is we're so overwhelmed with proper decent players in centre-mid.
So
No,
I think it's a fair- I hear what you're saying.
my point of view is the only one that Ampadu is our best midfielder and the only number 6 that we have with some pace capable of breaking and going forward too, because of course we know that Gruev can usually stay a little bit more back, and he doesn't have the same. Of course, he's tough on the defensive end, but he doesn't have the same pace as Ampadu. He's much more similar to Mark Rock in a certain sense, in terms of how he defends, in terms of not defense, how he runs back and tracks back, especially. So
Ampadu's my
for me-
favourite player at the club, dude, and I want him to play centre mid. I really don't want him playing
yeah,
centre.
I know.
I just don't think it's as big an issue. That's my own. I don't see necessarily a huge gap there. Is my point basically.
Yeah, and that's
If we can bring someone in that's as good as Wobber, who plays right centre back, let's do that. I'm not bothered.
I don't think it's as big an issue as the forward lines, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
And we are lucky with the sense that Rodon, Touchwood again, is always fit, isn't he? He plays most games. So you are right. The guy who comes in has to accept that you're probably not going to play much this season.
My point is, Lockie, as well. Sorry, dude. Say if Rodon gets injured, Wobber and Struey could play centre back together, surely. If a guy comes in, at where does he fit in? I know they're both left-footed, but there was a time years ago when there could be two right-footed centre backs and nobody cared. And now for some reason,
I don't know if the manager would have that. I know Ampadu does play on the other side, but I don't know, Andre, did he play that side in Italy or did he play on the right? I actually don't know. I know
he played on both. He played on both sides. Yeah. But I think that's the only problem. It's not as a big of an issue because of these two, covering in case you move Ampadu back, of course, like Jack said. But for me, surely you can have a young player on loan to gather the club, just to have one more body in case. Look at Burnley, for example; they're full of centre backs.
I saw more risky though. I don't mean to interrupt, man. I want to get to the bottom of it myself. Do you know what I mean? I think that's more risky than putting Ampadu in. I'm more uncomfortable with just drafting some young lad in, and then he turns out to be dogger. I mean, we put Gulavogi in there, and like Joe says, don't want that. So and he's played at a decent level, hasn't he? And we're making out as though he's like 42, and he's not. He should have been. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because he always played in a back three when he was in Germany. Because of course, as you see, he's a typical number 6 with very little pace. And you saw that when they launched the long ball.
Damar's just made a great point. I mean, that's a first. But Strout's the one that gets injured quite a lot. So then Wobber might have to play in there. And then what happens to... Listen, of course, that's catastrophizing. But then you are very short. You are very... Look, the right centre-back, again, it's bottom of the list for me. I can't lie.
Yeah, I agree.
It goes 10, 9, right centre-back. But we definitely need options.
I agree, because Rodon's injury record is excellent, isn't it? May have just cursed everything, but I've touched wood, so hopefully not. I agree. The front is the more important, and at the end of the day, we're the type of team that our defensive record, generally speaking, apart from a few hips, because the goalkeeper is good. It's very good. It's a decent, and Ampadu can do that. But for me, again, I think direct competition is really important, and this is why we're talking about the 10 and going, oh, well, he can go in there. But the point being, that's not direct competition. Who's pushing Brendan at training? Who's saying, if you don't play well, I'm coming in? Because that's not going to happen. Farke's not going to drop Aronson because there's no one. If you bring in a number 10 that goes, I'm going to push you, he might push Brendan. He might do even better. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the same in positions where you are short, and I guess at centre-back, but Rodon's so good, so it doesn't really matter. You just don't be complacent. It's the same with Meslier, you could argue. Who's pushing him? Is Darlow, does Farke see Darlow as a number 1 at Leeds United? I don't think he does. That's a bit of an issue for me, because when your number 1 goalkeeper is out of form or making mistakes, that's where the competition comes into it. And that's where he knows that he cannot drop the ball, and this other guy will come in. I don't think we're in that position. And even at fullback, you could argue, until we see Schmidt ready. I know Firpo, before he got injured, he did go out when he came back from his injury for the first time and came back after the red card, I think it was. He wasn't at the level that he was before that. And it's just important to keep him at that level, that you have someone that's going, if you have a bad game, I'm coming in. And that's why Sam Byram's such a key player, and he gets so much disrespect because Bogle knows for a fact if he has a bad game, Sam Byram will come in straight away. The manager won't hesitate to play Sam Byram. We all know that. And every time Sam Byram's played, I think he's better on the right. When he plays on the right, I think he looks really good. So that's brilliant competition. That's direct, in training. Bogle's playing saying, I know I have to up my levels here because Sam Byram will come straight in. I love that. And I think just in one or two areas more, we need that. And that's this. And in a way, you could argue that's what we are doing at striker. Puro is constantly saying, I'm the starter. But then he'll have a game where he doesn't play great and he doesn't score. Then Matteo comes in, but then he doesn't do enough. So, and Bamford's obviously never there. He's always in the injury room. So bringing that guy in who's at a level where he's going, but I want to be the number one striker for Leeds United, that might make them both better. And then you're looking at a situation where you've got three players that when they come on the pitch, they all score goals, they all impress the manager. Like I just said with Morgan Whittaker, I don't know where they're going to play him at Burnley if they sign him. But, and look, at Plymouth, he was deeper. It was really weird. He's a really good guy around the box. His shot's unbelievable. And he's going to give competition to every single player, whether that's the 10, the striker, or the winger. That is really good competition. It's not, like I said,
and he's willing, and Whittaker's willing to go there.
Yeah,
that's the point when everyone says who's going to come in to say, well, he's willing.
And also Fake. I don't want to bring in new players because it may disrupt the harmony in the squad. I don't get that point of view. Competition is held to if you bring in the players with the right mentality. Yeah,
exactly. You've got to take it back to the start of the season where we had Jorginho Rutter. And by all means, even the manager, it was a shock when he left. I think he thought he'd stay. Brighton did the contract, the release clause, literally last few minutes, wasn't it? They did it like a few hours before it thing. But even then, there were talks of bringing in the Romans, Salai and all that stuff. So clearly, Daniel Farker wanted more than one guy in that position to keep Rutter at that level. Angus Kinnear talked about Buendia on the interview with Square Ball. Whether that's true or not, don't know. But the fact being, Aronson has gone in there, as Andrea's already said. He wasn't the first choice there at the start of the season. He wasn't. Now, he's doing a really good job. And I think it is going to be difficult to get someone as good as him in certain ways, in the things he does that no one else can do in this team. But I don't think it's impossible. And I think it's needed that he has competition because he's probably the only one, bar maybe the left back, where there is real competition in this team. And just bring someone in that is good in that role, like everyone else is doing. Enzo Lefebvre, for example, they've got 4 really good midfielders at Sunderland now. Look, Bellingham, Rigg, obviously Lefebvre, and there's another guy, I can't remember his name, from France, but he's a very good player as well. They brought him in. Really good numbers last year in France.
Akliush, I think.
That's the one.
Maybe.
All fighting for competition.
Let Jack pronounce it.
and
you know what?
We have the smallest squad in the league, and I keep saying this. I don't want that because that then you can make the excuse you don't have enough. Clearly, you've got 11 players on the pitch. That's 11 spare. How many of them are goalkeepers? 2 are goalkeepers. Joffy's one of them. Bamford's one of them. They're not playing. They're not available. They're going out on loan. You got Crew and DeBeo, who are youth prospects. Our depth is good in a way, but it's still shallow, and I think it should be less shallow just because of who we are, the financials we have or should have, and who we are, and the fact that we're top of the league and everyone else around us is bringing players in because they know they'll improve the squad and create competition. That's all they're doing, and we need to do that for me. Just don't sleep. Right, I'll stop.
The thing, and also, on the centre back too. If you look at Burnley, they have Bayer, Esteve, Ekdal, Worrell, Humphreys, Delcroix, Egan, and Inger Riley. So, just having, of course, these players, there's players who are reserves, substitutes, but they're not their place, So it's just, I don't want to take Ampadu, who is the commanding midfielder that we have. He's a key player. It's like the whole balance of the team. So I want just one in case Rodon gets injured to have even more cover because, of course, like we said, if it's injured, you can move Struijk there and play Weber on the left, like we saw, for example, in the past with Cooper on the left and Struijk on the right. But it's just, an assurance, even a player for the future, maybe, that you can just have in the squad, quickly, slowly introduce into the squad, but just to have more bodies and numbers in case someone gets injured or suspended. We at least last season we had a cover on both sides, because of course he decided to play Ample there. It was his choice, but you had Cooper on the left and Cresswell, who just had a full season with Millwall in the Championship, so he was a Championship player on the right. But of course, the main one, to get promotion is just fix that number 10 situation with a different player to Aronson in order to have to alternate them, Aronson and the other player, and 9 situation too for me, because like we said, Bamford is not reliable right now, unfortunately. He's like having he's fourth choice, realistically. He's fourth choice. And he has a contract till 2026 still. So he has another full season in his contract, yeah.
Definitely.
And the GK, but that won't happen.
Yeah. Look, we've done over an hour. What a show, great show. Chat's been popping off. Everyone's, really enjoyed it. There's more we could speak about, but I don't want to keep everyone all night. But, Schmidt did really well, definitely. And we'll just do a quick round the houses. Saw enough of him to at least be coming off the bench, Jack?
I wanted him to be getting minutes in. My only point I would make about that, and it's not just because I just watched him yesterday, but I don't know why, and maybe nobody in the chat does this. I don't know. Maybe it's only just a Twitter thing. I don't know why players like Byram have to take the hit for Schmidt. I don't know why now Byram has to be shit, and Schmidt is like. Can we just say I think for instance Schmidt should get some more minutes now. I don't know why we have to go. We can't start. He's not starting over Byram. Like Byram's done something wrong. Byram's done nothing wrong. That's the only thing I would say. Like, let's just give Schmidt a few more minutes. 100%. Let's
trust the manager. Let's trust the manager.
Please. Yes, please. Do you? I mean, what did Schmidt do yesterday? Apart from do what everybody else did. He passed it in. He's bound to look.
He was good. He was good though.
He was all right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought
right, but I'm not clambering for him to be like over top of Firpo, and it's like if Firpo's fit, he plays left back, doesn't he?
Yeah, I agree.
Schmidt looked like a player that hasn't played in a while at the start for the first kind of 25 minutes. Just really figuring out his angles, the passing angles, all the basic stuff. What do I do when I get the ball, kind of thing? Do I? But once he grew into it, he looked comfortable on the ball, and he is. He's good on ball player. Yeah, but you're right, Jack. He didn't take a guy on. He didn't put unbelievable balls into the box. He didn't do extra things that make you go, ooh, that's real competition. He did things that make you go, all right, he's getting better. He's slowly getting there. But to say, like you said, to criticise or take down what Byram's done this season, to say Schmidt's there over him now, he absolutely is not. That's insane. Sam Byram's been really good. I agree. I think we'll look better when Sam Byram's at right back. But regardless, Sam Byram's a solid player, and I don't get how he gets any criticism. I think it's insane.
Yeah.
He gets criticised for not being left-footed. That's not his fault. He's not left-footed. That's the manager putting him there. So that's not a criticism of Sam Byram.
It gets criticised.
Do you know what? As well, I'm sick to the back teeth of that. He kills every move down the left. No disrespect to these people that are saying that. You ask yourself the question week in, week out, where do we look most potent? Down the fucking left, and he's there. So I don't know where this notion comes from that he kills every attack, because that is where we are at our most potent.
They all cut back, but sorry, Lockie. The problem is Byram cuts back the other way, so it looks like as though I'm shutting this attack down. Whereas if you open your body up and bring it back with your right foot onto your left, it looks completely different. It looks like Byram goes, I don't want to go down there, so I'm coming back. That's what it looks like, and that's not what he's doing. He's doing what both wing backs do. It's just on his wrong foot. It looks a bit more awkward. That's all it is.
And on that right side, you've got Dan James, who is very, very wide at all times and goes on the outside. So
exactly.
It looks like we've got more width down there. And most of Bogle's good moves come when he's inverting. So I don't understand. Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, and yesterday,
honestly, boys, fucking cooked tonight, man. Honestly, well done. Well done. Everyone's cooked.
But there's another thing, that, yesterday, Schmidt was very balanced. I said, okay, but he played in the Conference League at the start of the season against, at a good team in Turkey, Trabzonspor. He played in the Swiss League, but at least, of course, you need to adapt to English football. But he's a natural fullback. Why not play him in his natural position when you have injuries? And you decide instead to play Ampadu at right back and then Weber at left back, like he did against Blackburn. So he looked all right yesterday. He looked balanced. I expect in the future more attacking threat by him, but I think it was a choice by the manager yesterday because we had technically 3 wingers on the pitch, with one playing in the number 10 position. So we were very unbalanced going forward. So you needed the fullback, Byram and Schmidt, to stay a little bit more back and cover and help the midfield on the defensive side of it and in the build-up. They were like adjointed midfielders, you know. So of course, people, you know, there's this notion that Schmidt didn't do anything particularly. Myron didn't do anything to impress me yesterday. Yeah, because it was how we were set up. They helped and did a lot of obscure work. It's not that if a player is not good on FIFA and on skills, he is not good in real life. I have this notion that, you know, there's people preferring people that are more exciting, but you need to take the results at the end. You don't need the skills, the streets won't forget thing, you know. But you know, why are Solomon and James playing? Because I see Joe laughing, is making me laugh too.
FIFA Street, man. FIFA Street.
No, I see that Solomon and James are performing. They have earned their place in the team, but yet it's not good enough for some people because they don't do much tackles, they don't take their man, they don't do the 360s and all that. You know, if you want to see tackles, dribbles and all that, go play FIFA. Really, go play FIFA. We need people who will give us sharpness and all of that. So honestly, I'll even accept Smith be more balanced, honestly, rather than, you know, overlapping and shooting for 30 yards and 40 yards. But yeah, I want balanced players. Not everyone is a dribbler or streets won't forget players, honestly.
Just quickly, Joe. Sorry, nobody runs better with the ball. Ramazan is really good as well, but just in general, if you're looking at a player, nobody carries the ball on the pitch like him. He looks a beast, doesn't he? Just in aesthetically, if you're looking at him, I don't fancy him at all. But, you know, when he's traveling with the ball, he looks brilliant. Nobody else looks like that. That doesn't mean he's better than Solomon on the ball. And Ramazan is very, very good on the ball. It's just an observation. Yeah. Some people look really good at certain things, don't they?
100%.
Solomon is so
on the wing,
good at
especially
making players go out of position because he's so good at timing the pass and timing the movement after the pass. He's really good at it. And most of our combination play comes through Sam Byram, Joe Perot, Manuel Solomon, and Brendan Aronson, who are all criticised. They're our best combination players. You have the flair players in Ramazan, who's, like Jack said, absolute beast going past people. He is. And this is where the 10 comes into it and the conversation. Of course, if Ramazan is in the 10, he'll do one or two things or 3 or 4 things in a game that look mint. But he could do that at centre-back. He's got them attributes. They're not going away. Do you know what I mean? It's about the role off the ball. And people don't think it's boring. But off the ball is so important. How you defend, understanding a role as a midfielder. As a winger, when you go into the 10, it's a completely different area of the pitch. Now, players can become 10s, but it's not a quick process. It can take months or years. It's a hard thing to do. Even Jorginho Rutter, it took him time to get into that role. But he was just an absolute beast. And even he lost the ball loads of times. But he was so good with it and was so reliant on him that a lot came off as well. And I've seen people saying, you know, about how they were really good in the 10. And the fact of the matter is, they're good players. They're going to look good on the pitch. But the fact of the matter is, Aronson is better than them because he does better things that the manager wants. Aronson is so good on the half turn. The ball after that is a little bit dodgy at times. Yeah, true, it is.
Breaking the pressing too.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, the pressing is brilliant. So good when he receives that ball. There's no one on. Right, give it me in the middle. I'll turn. And then you're in on their back line. He's so good at that. There's many times where Solomon got the ball in the central space and he came straight back out. He didn't even turn with it when there's space behind him. This is where Aronson knows exactly what the space is behind him. These are the differences for me.
Therefore,
just
come on, man, come on. I don't need the toilet, by the way, but I am conscious it's 1 hour 14.
No, we're about to finish, you know. But I want to praise Lucky for this one too, because you know he explained why. I'd rather prefer people that say, "Oh, that player can play in 10," but explain me why. Explain me why you want him to play there. Explain me tactically and other things, not just, you know, putting clips and highlights of that player because he has skills and then he can play in the 10. Explain me what he can do in the build-up, how you want him to play in that position. You know, motivate. I really up for debate. I want people to motivate that. I don't want to see compilations of dribbles and all of that. Oh, he's technically talented, so he can play there. And if you have a different opinion, you don't know football. And all of that. It's not how debate works. It's not constructive, honestly. So more people like Loki. I want more people like Loki that explain actually why they want a player to play there or not to play there and why they want that player or not. And another thing, there's no reason if you prefer certain players, because of course there's people who have favorite players. They like players more. There's no reason to, you know, hype those players and slate at the same time other players in the same squad and in the same team, honestly. That's it, honestly. Marching on together.
Marching on together, indeed.
Listen.
One more. Listen, before we get into some super chats, I think we're all, and only one word this time, folks. No monologues, all right? Darlow start against Wednesday for you, Jack?
Yes.
Andrea?
Hope so.
Lockie?
Let's do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Willie Nonto, fourth best winger. Jack? You can't get around it because you got to answer.
Yes. Currently, can I say currently?
Currently, you can. Andrea, I know
Great
you're
word.
ready to.
Currently, unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Currently.
I think, yeah, man. Currently. Right. Okay. Before we get into some super chats, Mrs. Traff. Do you know who Traff is? I don't know how genuine this is, but apparently, Mrs. Traff is watching in the bath. This is a first. He's probably on the wind up, but we'll do it anyway. Traff's asked you to marry him.
Hey.
So if you'll marry him, he also does say you better say yeah. You better say yeah. If not, he's unsubscribing. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for me. All right, do it for me. Big up to there we go. Look, he's put a little super chat and he says, "Marry me, B, love you." There you go. That must be his pet name. Big up. And that there, it says, let's celebrate their first super on a live. So the tight get has finally put a super chat in, but that must mean he likes you. We won't talk about how much he's put in Mrs. Traff because at £2, I'm not too sure. Maybe you need to look elsewhere. No, I'm joking, of course. Marry Traff. Does Joe get an invite to the wedding? Ask Jonathan Brooke. Yes, please. I'll be best man. Abdul Rahman Al Khalifi says, just get Latila and I'm happy in this window. Sean Healy says, it is excuses, Joe. We have enough in each position. This came before we went through the thing. You not remember when we pushed the boat out to get Champo football and we failed? We are recovering from Risdale. I mean, that was over 20 years ago now. It's a long time ago. I mean, come on. Like, it was a long, long time ago. And also, we made the most in world football. It's not comparable at all. Hidgepo says, the squad graphic that you displayed showing the options per position should tell everyone what we need to know about depth and quality. Traff, let us know if B married yet. We're going to leave it there. Yeah. Please do go subscribe to Jack City and City of Leeds fans. I'm going for a drive now to Happy Halifax, so I'm going to watch his reaction straight after this as well. So make sure you do the same. Make sure you check out Lockie Leeds, who's just smashing it out there. Big up to Oliver putting the channels in the chat. Make sure you hit them. Do me a favor and stick out Andrea's Twitter as well. Andrea always dropping pipe bombs on Twitter. Lastly, go check out the TikTok. And I hope tonight has helped people see that this panel is where you get the knowledge. Yeah, is where you get the knowledge. Trash says, asked her in Buddha. She said yes. There you go. There's the first on the Just Joe football show. And Damar Zlatan does not bother himself with just mere humans, my man. All right. He does not bother himself with mere humans. Big up to everyone. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye.